positive stories are lacking, aren't they?
They,
It's been so normalized that we only imbibe negative news. It's so rare that you would get a positive story either on a news program or in the newspaper that it would stand out. And it seems like that's a key element to hope, that we also have a fair balance of, yes, there are some terrible things going on, but also we need positive stories to cultivate hope.
yeah, we really do. And, if you get a positive story in the main press, it's usually a little tiny thing at the side. So if you get that newspaper online, you don't get those.
No.
So they're lost. And yes, you get good news on YouTube sometimes, but it needs to be out in the mainstream media. That's what needs to happen.
I know, you have to dig around for good news, and that seems like a massive shame, because even reading your book, there are numerous stories of hope in there and some amazing things, whether it's your own initiatives, Roots and Shoots, or there's tons of beautiful rewilding projects that are happening globally.
Super,
we don't hear about them.
No, people that will say, rewilding, what's that?
Yeah.
And yet there's huge areas of Europe which, the different countries have joined together to make this sort of corridor of wilderness, and wolves and bears and things are coming back. And it's very exciting. And even in little old Britain, we've got the beavers.
Yeah, this is it. We need to hear about these beavers and these corridors of green, because otherwise it's so easy to fall into hopelessness. I certainly, this summer, with all the sort of doom and gloom that's been pushed on us, I had a few moments of feeling, and I'm usually a very sort of high energy and relatively naturally hopeful person, but I definitely fell into some pits of despair with just thinking, what is going on? And, what can I even do to help in any tiny way? And I felt a bit hopeless at times. Have you ever reached that place where you felt like, what's the point?
No, never quite reached that place. I've been depressed, and the depression makes me angry and determined to do even more. And you mentioned Roots and Shoots. If our children lose hope, then we've had it, because they're growing up to inherit the horrible mess that we've made. So Roots and Shoots started back in 91 because I was meeting young people, mostly high school, university age, in all countries, who seemed to have lost hope, even back then. And they said to me basically all the same, you've compromised our future and there's nothing we can do about it. Well, yes, we have not only compromised, we've been stealing their future for years and years and years, not all just now, it goes way back. But is it too late? No, I'm convinced, and luckily it's not just me, that there is this window of time, but it's a small window and it's closing. So we've got to get together now, take action now before it's too late. So when I get these feelings of horrible things happening, I mean, the most recent is what's happened in Afghanistan, which is chilling.
Yeah.
And there's nothing I can do about that, except we can help refugees from Afghanistan, I suppose. But apart from that, when it's climate change and things, then, if there's something everybody can do, and your little bit may seem pointless, but when it's millions and then billions of little bits, then you begin to see, we can. And also consumer pressure. Think of the people who are now aware. That's one of the positives. People are more aware. They understand more. And so they're deciding, well, if that product is made unethically, if it's unfair wages or harming the environment, or if it's cruel to animals, like factory farms, then I'm not going to buy it. And big corporations are changing, not only because of that. I was talking to the head of a big corporation in Singapore the other day, and he said, well, Jane, there are two reasons why corporations are changing. One is this consumer pressure. Two, they see the writing on the wall that if they carry on using up our natural resources faster than nature can replenish them, that's the end of their business too. So they're changing. And then he said, oh no, there's something else. I've got two children, and they said to me, Daddy, you cannot go on hurting the planet. It's our future. He said, well, I felt, oh gosh, yes, they're right.
They are right. And it's, you know, it's so important that we remember we've got the agency and we can vote with our cash. We can vote for where we want to buy things and how we want to buy things. And as you've said, the big corporations have to follow suit. Otherwise, you know, on a sort of greed level for them, they're in trouble.
Yeah.
But it's so funny because, you know, we can see stats very easily. It doesn't take long to find the sort of stats that we've got this window that you've spoken of, maybe 20, 30 years, where we have to make huge change to save biodiversity and to keep our planet in any kind of good shape. But it doesn't feel like we're acting urgently yet. Do you think that's because we still weirdly have sort of compartmentalized it to be an environmental problem rather than a human problem, although they are the same thing?
Yeah, they are. Yeah, that's the subject of a lot of my talks, that we are part of, and we depend on the natural world. Even if we live in the middle of a city, we depend on it for clean air, water, food, shelter, everything. And what we depend on, though, is healthy ecosystems. And I like to think of an ecosystem as made up of this. It's like a glorious living tapestry of the life forms, the animals and the plants in that ecosystem. And, you know, as each species disappears from the ecosystem, it's like pulling a thread from the tapestry. So in the end, that tapestry will hang in tatters and the ecosystem will collapse. That's happening. Yeah. And this is what we, you know, that's why all of these things that we face are all interrelated. None of us can do all of them, but luckily, we can inspire others to do their bit in what they're passionate about. You know, some people want to help other people in trouble. Some people want to help animals. Some people want to help the environment. And that's what Roots and Shoots is all about. Each group chooses 3 projects, one to help people, one to help animals, one to help the environment. Or it can be one big project that encompasses them all. And, you know, when children and adults take action and do something like cleaning a stream, cleaning up litter, volunteering in a soup kitchen and making people happy, then they get this feeling of satisfaction, and that encourages them to do more. And the more they do, you know, this hope is contagious and more people will get involved. And that's happening too. It's not happening fast enough, but people like you can make a huge difference with your podcast in spreading this message. Every one of us matters and has a role to play. Every single person.